Okay, so I have a confession to make, and it's not just to the audience here, it's to my Jmaz Aero Spot 60. When I first got into this relationship, I didn't expect it to last. I really didn't. I bought these because I thought they were a great concept, but I didn't think that for my application they were going to work because, to be honest with you, my application changed, and these gave me the ability to change and evolve with what was happening in my business. And we're going to talk about the Jmaz Aero Spot 60, a battery-powered wireless DMX moving head, but a solution item. And we're going to talk about a lot of reasons why I love it and why it's something that I think you really need to consider if you're a mobile DJ, a club DJ, or anyone in the event professional business. So, are you ready to do it? We're going to talk about it right now. What's going on, everybody? Justin Schwartz here, coming at you from the DJs Guru studio, as always. And today we are here to talk about the Jmaz Aero Spot 60, a light that I purchased to review, but wound up keeping it because it made so much sense within the business that I run when I do events, and I think you might find value in it too. So we're going to talk today about the Jmaz Aero Spot 60, a battery-powered moving head. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to remind everyone, make sure you're checking us out at the DJsGuru.com. Reviews, content, all of our contact information to reach out for advice and concierge sales. And that is us with no agenda, just here to help you. So give us a call or reach out to us at thedjsguru.com. And if you're looking to buy the Jmaz Aero Spot 60s, go to djeventgear.com, our curated DJ gear and merchandise website where everything we review at the DJs Guru goes on that site, and that's where you can go to buy it. Now, back to the Jmaz Aero Spot 60. So, we have a battery-powered and wireless DMX moving head. So while I talk about this real quick, I'm going to turn it on. Okay, so battery powered and wireless DMX, two separate things. It has an 8-hour battery life, lithium ion rechargeable battery. It's about a 5-hour charge time. So what does that mean? It means that you can place this up on a totem like you have behind me and not have to worry about plugging it in. So if you're looking at this behind me, you can see that there's no cables going down there. I use truss warming lights, and because of the fact that there's no cables going down there, they look great. They're not bouncing off of cables. So a little, hidden thing that you wouldn't even think about, having that battery power eliminates that cable. Of course, it makes it easier and more convenient, but for a clean DJ or a clean event professional look, you now eliminate that wire completely. So that I love about it. And it's wireless DMX. So what does that mean? It actually has built-in wireless DMX, which they call Jmaz, built into the light. So the lights are actually synchronized and communicating with each other, and you do not need any DMX cable to connect the two lights or 4 lights or however many Jmaz Aero Spot series they have, because there's also a beam, there's a wash. So you have battery powered and you have wireless DMX. Eliminates your need for every single cable. So right on the surface, that was something. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and put this back over here because of the battery. This thing is actually fairly heavy. My roadies hate it. And it's made really, really well. That was another thing that really, And all the Jmaz stuff is made well, but I figured for the price point that it wasn't going, there was going to be something missing, but it was really a great, really well made light on a really cool fixture portion that they made here with the battery. So it's robust, it feels really solid. So, alright, so talked about the basics of it as far as being battery powered and wireless. Now, what else do we have on this particular light? All of your moving head options and features that you would expect. The LED diode is 60 watts. And that is kind of the number, and that's the spec that made me think, all right, maybe I'm not going to keep this light, and we'll talk more about that later. But it really appears to be brighter than 60 watts, and I've had it in bigger rooms, and it seems it's fine. Multiple colors, it's 8 colors plus open. You have a bunch of different gobos in there, a bunch of different options for music, for auto, for DMX mode, plus they have an an RF remote control, radio frequency, and when I say IRC, I'm talking about an infrared, right? You know, something like this. Problem with an infrared remote is, just like a TV remote control, I don't have one here, but a TV remote control, you have to have line of sight. With an RF remote control, you can hold it over here, put it behind your back, and because it's a radio frequency, it's going to connect to the light. So you don't have to worry about where you are in the room. They'll actually speak to each other. So you have a lot of different operation modes. Now, if you're a remote person, the remote is going to give you good control. It's not going to give you great control. But because they are linkable wirelessly, you can control the master light. Set this one as a DMX1 so it follows that one, wirelessly connect them, and then use the remote control wirelessly to change up the lights throughout a gig. So if you're a solo operator, it's really a great option, and knowing that you can do that and easily put them up on a totem and then control them, changing that throughout the gig, blacking them out, things like that. It's a nice feature to have. So that's the control of them. We talked about the build quality, really, really well made. I got my safety cable on here. It has an area for brackets if you want to hang them. You know, I think most people are going to put these up on totems. But yeah, power con input, 3-pin DMX in and out. If you're going to use that, it does have that there, but I think most people are going to use it with the wireless DMX. So, I started off this video talking about, and again, listen, we're in it now, okay? I am committed to you. So, we talked about the fact that I bought this light to review. Because I said, I love the concept, I don't think it's going to work for me, but I know I can sell this light. So I brought it in, and it was great. And I used it at a small event, and it worked fine. I'm like, you know what? Oh, maybe I'll keep this thing. I did another event with it. We have some video of that we've shown before. It did really well. It was nice to have the battery power, but it didn't really show its value to me yet because I had plenty of time. It wasn't really a setup that I needed to get in and out real fast. It didn't show its true value and worth yet. But about 4 months ago, I started a bi-weekly gig where it's a restaurant and they change it over to a club within a half an hour. And they don't let you into the room until about 9 o'clock to start setting up, and they want you to be ready to go by 9:30. And we bring in a good amount of equipment. So every connection, every time you got to get on your hands and knees and connect something and plug something in, takes time. Not to mention, if you're working and doing this a lot, it's annoying, right? So having the ability to have these already pre-synced wirelessly, go drop my totems down, just drop the lights down, hook up my safety cable, and then turn them on when I'm ready, gives me the ability to do this gig because I don't have to worry about connecting the DMX cable. I don't have to worry about plugging them in, running extension cords, because the cords that come with the lights, the moving heads, are never long enough to get to the bottom of the totem. You got to run another extension cord, right? It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes when you have half an hour to set up it matters, right? So that gig alone, I said, without that, I couldn't have done it, right? So if you're someone, again, a solo operator, just thinking about time and setup and how many times you got to plug stuff in and out, time is money, right? So there's a lot of value in having that battery power and that wireless. And again, my drawback was, is it bright enough? And we're going to see B-roll and shots that I've used in real life that you'll see in a large space. It is fine. More than adequate. I don't know how bright you want these lights to be, but a 200 watt LED diode only shows its value when you're in a space large enough for it to actually show, right? If I'm in a room that's smaller, if you're doing a 100-person wedding or a private event like that, and then you're in a medium-sized room, 200-person LED diode is not going to look, a 200-watt LED diode is not going to look much different than a 60-watter if it's only going 10 to 12 feet with, 12-foot ceilings. So it's all applicable to what you're doing and what your needs are. The other side with the solo operator is just knowing, again, that you set them up, you use the remote, and you can basically get these things to produce a light show without having to really do much other than setting them down, turning them on, and going through the music activated programs, or even if you want to do auto, and you have this great RF remote control to pretty much play with while you're DJing, and it makes things a lot easier. So let's talk about one last thing that I love about it. Alright, so here's another situation where this thing was really, really valuable to me. I did an event where there really wasn't a lot of area to put truss, right? And I was able to literally find a spot within the venue where I could literally just place it down, again secure it with my safety cable, and put it in almost like it was semi-permanent, where I almost installed the thing for the night and didn't even have to worry about setting up any additional infrastructure, which can sometimes get in the way, of course. And we still got the lights. So again, without having this thing being, I love standalone, right? This is a standalone moving head. It's a standalone moving head, I'll turn it on really quickly, kind of show you guys what we've got going on here. It's going to shine, but really easy to use too. It's kind of going through its reset and calibration. Now it's on right away. Right now we have it in sound active mode, so it's gonna attach itself to the sound of whatever you have going on in the room. This is from the last gig that we did. And if I turn this on over here, I have this set on as a slave, right? And you'll see real quickly how it will synchronize. So let's just look at the menu real quickly. Real easy with Jmaz. They're all pretty much the same. You have the ability to go through your DMX address, your channel mode, auto or music control. You then have all different sets. Now in this situation, what I did was I inverted them so that way they are following each other, but they're doing separate things. So they're inverted. So I have to go like this. There we go. But now, as you see, wirelessly connected, and they're doing the exact same thing. I have no music on, so you gotta just do your clapping. But now you have two self-sustaining moving heads, battery built in. What more do you want to see, right? You could do anything with these in so many different ways. And again, I'll end this portion by saying I wasn't looking to keep these. I don't get this stuff for free from the manufacturers. I find stuff that I think is valuable that I want to share. And this I knew was going to make sense. I wasn't sure if it was going to make sense for me. And they have paid for themselves tenfold just by being able to do these events and bring in lights where I would have not been able to bring lights. We were able to get more money. We were able to elevate the event too. I mean, that's the big thing. Now you can bring in moving heads where you may never have thought you could do it before. So I think at this point I want to show some B-roll. I want to see some of these lights in action, some from some of the events that we've done, and then we'll close it out. Alright everybody, that is the Jmaz Aero Spot 60. They have these in a 710 and a wash, and they have a beam as well. We'll talk about them at another time, I'm sure. But, you know, I'm going to just highlight and continue to highlight that I purchased these to review, and I did not want to let go of them because I have been able to use them to make me money. And our chime in here always is, if you're a hobbyist, great, you know, buy this stuff as much as you want and enjoy it because it's awesome. But if you're in business, everything you buy, you have to think about it and reverse engineer it, right? So, all right, if I buy this, it's going to cost me X. Is this going to generate me income? If it doesn't, really you shouldn't buy it unless it's giving you some form of self-care, something that's going to really, you know, elevate your DJ game or performance. But when we're talking lights, there's no sense in buying a light if you can't sell it, right? Or use it to get yourself into a different venue or whatever. These allow you to do that, and we've discussed why, and I totally recommend the Aero series from Jmaz. I love them. If you have any questions, certainly reach out. Drop them down in the comments below. I'm going to be putting up a blog up at the DJsGuru.com, so make sure you check us out there. And of course, put together some great packages. We have these in stock over at DJEventGear.com, so reach out to us there for a purchase. We're always happy to answer any additional questions. We can make custom packages for you. A lot of people are pairing 2 of these with 2 beams, or 2 of these with 2 of the 710 washes, which are really cool too. But the Aero series is definitely something you got to pay attention to, and it deserves your attention. I'm really glad that you chose to watch this today. Thank you so much for watching it. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it. And as I always like to say, we will see you on the flip side. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.